Welcome to Saylorville students' version of Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. This is sort of a parody of a real show called Hot Ones that's on YouTube, but I like it a lot, and I thought it would be great to subject Pastor Pat to the wings of death. And so we're here interviewing Pastor Pat. We've got some questions. Some have been submitted from our students. Some were just questions that I had, and we are taking questions from the audience too. So if you have any additional questions that you want to ask Pastor Pat, then you can comment on Instagram or YouTube or wherever you're watching this, and we will look at those. So, Pastor, thank you for graciously agreeing to partake in this gauntlet with me.
I'm excited. I'm a little concerned about reading the labels on this. This last one says Inferno.
Yeah. How do you do with hot food?
I don't do well with hot food. So Inferno, I mean, that just, are we having theological questions on hell or what? I mean,
well, we did already ask your son, John, about hell, but maybe some people ask additional
whatever.
questions.
That's fine. I'm sure he answered it, but I'm hoping they didn't give my wings a baptism into this stuff, because that's going to be hard on me.
Well, that was mostly Jared. I did a few of them. I tried to make sure that yours were pretty well coated. So
now I know you've got some milk here, and you have some donuts down here.
We heard that you weren't very good with spicy food, and so we've provided a few lifelines for you. We've got the basic water and milk. We've got a donut to be brought out, and even ice cream for your darkest hour.
Okay.
So
now, what kind of milk are we? Because I am, milk and me, we don't get along real well. So what kind of milk are we? Did you serve up here?
Well, this is Anderson Erickson brand, but your milk, I made sure to get lactose-free milk for you.
Oh, how nice of you. Now, I did come up with my own concoction, Andrew, for if my mouth gets caught on fire here. I'm kind of assuming it will. They say that sugar kills it, or something like a cracker or whatever. So I thought, what the best thing I could come up with to have the best of both would be Frosted Flakes.
Oh, well done.
So I might be reaching for the Frosted Flakes before this whole thing is over.
He'll pour some Frosted Flakes into his lactose-free milk.
Yeah,
over
that's
here,
probably not going to happen.
Okay. Well, we're going to start by eating a wing, and we'll start with a milder wing and then work our way up to the spicier ones. So we're going to start out with this one right here. This is the mild hot sauce from Hot Ones. And so first we take a bite just to get the spice flowing in our veins. Wings courtesy of Smokey D's Barbecue. Shout out Smokey D's.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
So you can take as many bites as you want.
Okay.
But if you're planning on eating a whole wing, maybe start at the beginning, and we'll see if you get the whole wing down.
I got you.
So we've surveyed students who have constantly lamented that even though their schoolwork has either been drastically reduced or for some of them cut out entirely, they're still having trouble getting things done. And I think this is a problem for a lot of people. I know even for myself, I find myself, even with extra free time, still struggling to get stuff done, and a lot of that is because of procrastination. So, as someone who is known for getting a lot of things done around here, I was wondering how you avoid procrastination, and what's your method for attacking a task that you're not particularly excited about?
Actually, that is a great question. Did that come from you, or did that come from one of the students?
It came from students.
That is, I'm impressed that one of you students asked that question on procrastination. So, I mean, I think that I think we need to cut to the quick. We need to get to the core of what procrastination is. The word isn't even used in the Bible, but laziness is. So I would say what an affair is to adultery, procrastination is to laziness. I mean, it's basically a form of laziness is what it is. And so, really, I think from a biblical perspective, I think everyone anyway should, but every student particularly should really ingest, since we're ingesting things, a lot of the book of Proverbs, because the book of Proverbs, while it's not a gospel book, it is a get off your butt and get it done kind of book, okay? So there's a lot of proverbs, a lot of them that deal with procrastination or laziness, like go to the ant, you sluggard, you lazy person, you know. There's a proverb, I don't have it marked. Yeah, I do have it marked here somewhere. There's Proverbs 19 says, laziness casts into a deep sleep, and an idle man will suffer hunger. So a lot of those things would just be strong and constant reminders to you to name it what it is. It's laziness, okay? And so there's a strong warning. I would also say that in the New Testament, there's a word that came to my mind, and it's the word kairos. There's a couple different words in the Greek New Testament for time. One is chronos. We hear the word chronology there. Kairos doesn't really remind us of anything, but there was a Greek god by the name of Kairos, which to me, this is just fascinating. So the Kairos, I think he had another name, but I can't remember what it was. But so he had one lock of hair. I kid you not, every time I think of the Greek god Kairos, I think of my friend Tom Hammond. I hope somebody from from 100 years ago when I got saved is listening to this, because Tom Hammond discipled me. Godly guy, passionate guy. He's with the Lord now. Died in a car accident a number of years ago, but so he doesn't get a chance to check the truth on this. But this is gospel truth. So Tom, back in the 80s, it wasn't cool to shave your head when you were going bald. So what they did was they had the comb over. And Tom was a younger guy, but I'll never forget, he was lining up to hit a shot on the fairway. I'd been a Christian for like a month. He's getting ready to hit it, and a gust of wind came up. I kid you not, the lock on the front of his hair was 8 inches long, if it wasn't close to 10. And he just started going like this. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And he had to go, put it back. And anyway, the god Kairos in Greek mythology has one lock of hair in the front. And the idea is he's called the God of opportunity, because the Greek word kairos, it's actually found in Ephesians 5, I think it's 16, where it says, make the most of the opportunity, or redeem the time, the old translation says. So make the most of the opportunity is probably a better translation, because that's the word kairos, which means to opportunity of time, so to speak. So in Greek mythology, Kairos, the god Kairos, if he was coming to you, he had a lock of hair in the front, and you had to grab the opportunity when it was in front of you, or if it gets beyond you, there's nothing to grab. Nothing to grasp. Yeah. So, I would say to everybody, you need to look at life this way. Opportunities are coming in front of you. Take those opportunities and grab them when you can. So, and just from a practical perspective, Andrew, I was thinking about this too. Practically speaking, I'm not a list guy. We've got list guys on staff. Abe Miller's one of them. And, he comes with a list of, 15 things you got to get done here, but I'm not a list guy. But I've discovered lists really help me. I remember hearing Elizabeth Elliot years ago said she made a list, and then if she thought of things throughout the day that she hadn't put on the list, she'd put them on the list just to give that sense of satisfaction, to check that thing off. And I even used to have a list. It said, "Thy list be done," But I do have a list. I have a list every day. I look at that list. When I mentioned Abe, when I meet with Abe, he might give me 4 or 5 things that have to get done from my perspective. And I put them at the top of the list. So the first thing, I just get after them, and check them off as I go. I find that does give you that sense of satisfaction. I'm helping somebody else out, because that's helping them get their job done. And it really, when you don't procrastinate, when you get after things, you're also showing respect for other people, because it's not just all about you. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would certainly agree.
So there's one more verse that just came to my mind, and that's Numbers. Numbers 30 says, "In the day you hear it." The context is of a father negating, a bad decision his daughter has made. But repeatedly in that chapter it says, "In the day you hear it, the day you hear it, the day you hear it." The idea is, get it done when you know you should get it done. That's the time for the opportunity. Don't let the kairos, don't let the opportunity, get ahead of you.
Well, that's great. Not only practical advice, but spiritual and theological advice.